Welcome children. Today we will be discussing about chapter number 15th of your textbook, that is improvement in food resources. Children, we already had 3 sessions on this chapter in which we studied about food resources and need for improvement of food resources, type of crops and atmospheric conditions that are required for the growth of plants, and improvement of crop yields, and 3 stages of practices involving in farming techniques. We also discussed about major group activities for improving crop yields, crop production improvement, nutrient management by utilizing manure, fertilizers into the crop field, and irrigation techniques and various cropping patterns. In today's session, we will discuss about crop protection management in detail. Why do we need to protect crops? Field crops are affected by a large number of weeds, pests, and diseases which can cause damage to the crops. And this damage can result in reduced productivity of the crop. So, the crops in the field are exposed to various types of factors, and the crop plant may be damaged by insects, birds, bacteria, fungus, etc. So, there is a need to protect our crop from these various types of threats so that we can get maximum productivity from that crop. Now, the methods of crop protection can be of various types, like weed control, pest control, and protection from different types of diseases. Children, first of all, we will discuss about weed control. Before starting it, it is very necessary to understand about weeds. What are these weeds? Weeds are unwanted and uncultivated plants that grow with the crop plant and compete with crops for nutrients and can also cause crop toxification. When a crop plant is growing, along with this, if a weed is growing, weed plant absorbs all the nutrient very fast from the soil, and as a result of this, the crop plant do not get sufficient amount of nutrient from the soil. In the same way, this weed plant also compete the crop plant for sunlight and space. So ultimately, when a weed is growing along with the crop plant, the growth of the crop plant is affected. And the process of weeding is removal of weeds and is mostly done before flowering begins in crop plants. It is done by using some of the tools like trowel, harrow, or weedicides. Trowel is used in manual removal of weeds. Children, there are various types of weeds which can grow along with the desired plant in a crop field. These unwanted plants can be of various types. Here I have given example of some common weeds like xanthium, which is also known as gokhuru, amaranthus, which is also known as chauli, parthenium, which is also known as gajar ghas, and chenopodium, which is also known as bathua, and Avena sativa, which is also known as wild oat. So these unwanted weed plants grow along with crop plants. Nobody sows these plant seeds. Nobody want to grow, but these weed plants grow naturally along with the crop plants or desired plants. To kill these weeds plant, we can either manually remove these weed plants from the crop field before flowering, or we can also use some of the weedicides, which are chemicals which have the capacity to kill the weeds. Here in this slide you can see some of the examples of weedicides. 2,4-D is a very common weedicide. Simazine is also there. Tobacco extract is also used as a weedicide. Rogor is also used as one of the weedicide, and neem extract is also a natural weedicide which does not cause any harm to the environment. So these weedicides are capable of killing weed plant, and when these weedicides are applied into the crop field, that time these weedicides are so specific that they do not harm the crop plant and kill specifically the weeds from the farmland or from the cropland. Now weed control methods also include mechanical removal, means removal of these weeds with the help of some of the machines or tools. Preventive methods such as proper seed bed preparation, timely sowing of crops, intercropping and crop rotation also help in controlling weeds. And if we are using or following all these preventive methods without applying any chemicals, without applying any artificial extract into the crop field, we can check the growth of weed from our crop field. Now we will discuss about the second method by which we can protect our crop when it is growing in a crop field. So children, when a crop is growing in a crop field, when the produce is there and crop is ready for harvest, there are very high chances of damage to the crop by different types of pests. For protecting our crop from the damage caused by pests, we need to control these different types of pests. Plants provide food for many forms of life. Human beings and other grazing animals depend upon plants for food. It is important to note that large number of other very smaller creatures such as insects, nematodes and their larvae also feed on plants. Living beings which feed on plants and cause damage to the plant are called as pests. These pests may be of various types. A pest may be defined as any organism that interferes with production and growth of the crop plant. It may include nematodes or group of arthropod into it. It may also include the larvae stages of various types of insects which can bore the fruit, stem or any other part of plant and can cause damage to the crop plant. Insect pest attacks the plant in 3 different ways. Some of the insect pests cut the roots, stem or leaf. Some of them suck the cell sap or the juice which is present inside that particular part of the plant. So when they suck the juice or the cell sap of the crop plant, they also suck the nutrients which are present in that sap. So when that nutrient is absorbed by the insect, the plant will suffer with a lack of that nutrient. As a result of that, the plant will not be able to grow very well. Insect pests can also bore into stem and fruit of crop plant. Children, you must have seen sometime holes in tomatoes and brinjals. These are the sign of insect pest attack on these vegetables. So these insect pests affect the health of crop plant and reduce the yield of that particular crop. types of pests can be insect and non-insect pest also. The term plant pest can be of any species or strain of the plant, animal or pathogenic agent which is injurious to the plant or which is harmful to the plant or plant product. The most important pests in the order of importance are constituted by insects and non-insect pests like mites, nematode, gastropods, which include snails and slugs. And it can also be rodents, which include various types of animals like rats, squirrels, etc. The damage to the crop plant can also be caused by various types of birds which feed on the grains or fruits of that crop plant, and mammals also. We will learn about some of the common pests in the world. In this slide you can see the pictures of aphids, caterpillar and beetle and a borer which is known as European corn borer. Aphids are very small creatures and they have very light colored body. When they grow on any leaf, they leave a sticky substance on that leaf, and they can be removed very easily by removing the damaged leaves when their number is very less on the crop plant. And the second picture is of caterpillar. Most kinds of caterpillar are considered plant pests, and these caterpillars usually eat the leaves of the plant. And the third picture is showing Colorado potato beetle, which is an inch-long striped beetle, and their larvae will eat everything on the plant. So these beetles are very harmful for the crop plant. And the fourth picture shows European corn borers, which are small and they have 1 inch long size, and these borers bore into the stem of the plant and eat that stem from inside. Now these pests can be categorized into various groups like sucking insects, siphoning insects, chewing insects, etc. Here I have taken only one group just to make you understand about the categorization of the pest insects. So in sucking insects, again on the basis of the part from which the insect is sucking its food, can be categorized into different groups, that is stem suckers. These can be rice plantothopers, sugarcane woolly aphids, leaf suckers. These can be cotton leaf hopper, ladyfinger leaf hopper, cotton whitefly, etc. These sucking insect can also suck the juice from flower, which can be rose thrips and mustard aphids, etc. They can be fruit suckers also. Fruit sucking moths are examples of fruit suckers. There can be some insects which can suck sap from roots also. An example of this is wheat root aphid. Now in this slide you can see a group of aphids or locusts which attacked India recently, and these locusts caused so much of damage to the farmers because these locusts came or attacked on India in a huge number, and wherever there were green plants growing, they entirely cleaned up that area by eating that plant. So this was the very familiar clipping nowadays which was related to your topic, so I just incorporated into this session. Now to control the number of pests or to reduce the harmful effect of pest onto the crop field, we need to apply some pesticides. These pesticides can be again categorized into different groups. These can be chemical pesticides like pyrethroids or sulfonylurases or organophosphates, etc. These can also be categorized into biopesticides. These biopesticides are environment safe, that is why here in this slide it is shown in a green color. These biopesticides can be categorized into microbial pesticides, biochemical pesticides and plant incorporated pesticides. Microbial pesticides include bacterium, funguses, virus or protozoans that target the specific kind of pest only. So these type of organism target the pest and ultimately kill the pest and thus save the crop plant. Biochemical pesticides are genetically modified plants produce insecticidal proteins in themselves. In such kind of genetically modified plant, these plants produce certain kind of chemical compounds which are toxins for that pest. So when the pest eat any part of that plant which is modified genetically, the toxins which are present in that plant kills the pest or do not attract the pest towards that particular plant, and thus we can safeguard that plant from that particular type of pest. But this practice is quite costly and it involves so much of research and development. Now the third one is plant incorporated pesticides. These are naturally occurring substances which are used to control the pest. For example, insect sex hormone that interfere with their mating process. In this slide you can see some of the common examples of pesticides which are used by farmers. These are 2,4-D, dimethoate, captan, zenab, fosalone and carbofuran, etc. Now we will discuss about the third type of protection which is required to the plant, that is plant protection from different types of diseases. Children, you know that we human beings suffer with different types of diseases. In the same way, plants can also suffer with different types of diseases which can be caused by various types of pathogens like bacteria, fungi, viruses, etc. And these pathogens can be transmitted to the plant through water, air. There are different types of diseases which can occur in variety of plants. Here I have taken some of the very common examples of diseases which occur in plants. The first one is damping off and the other one is disease common on foliages, flowers and fruits, and vascular diseases and different types of galls, root rots, wood decay and post-harvest diseases. Now I will give you some of the examples of common plant diseases. Mosaic disease. The viruses attack on the cereal grains in this disease, and if the plant is attacked by this disease, you can easily identify that plant with the help of color spots on the crop plant. The patches or streaks are formed on the leaf of the crop plant. Now the second disease is damping off. It is a seedling disease. It does not arise in the adult plant, but when it is in the growing stage or in the seedling stage, that time this disease occurs. And in this disease, fungi attack young seedlings shortly just after the germination process. And here are some of the examples of fungal diseases that can occur in the crop plant, that is downy mildew, powdery mildew, smut, rust, wilt and blight. Here you can see the examples of bacterial diseases, which is crown gall, leaf blight, wilt, leaf spot and canker disease. Here is the example of smut, which can be easily seen in corn, and this is a disease which is caused by fungi, and in this dusty spores cover the grain. Again you can see another example of common plant disease, that is the stunt. Again it is a viral disease. In this disease the plant do not grow normally and the height of the plant is retarded or stunted. That is why the name stunt is given to it. Now canker disease. This disease occurs on the bark of a plant, or it can also occur on the fruit of the plant, on the surface of the fruit of the plant, or the tissues which are present just beneath that surface. In this, the spotted browny patches are present on the bark and the fruits. Now the leaf spot disease, it is a disease which causes yellowing around dead areas on leaves, stems and fruit. You can easily see the patches or the spots which shows the presence of disease on this leaf. Now there are great variety of diseases which can attack on plant or can cause damage to the plant. But how a crop can be protected from all these diseases? There should be some management techniques for plant diseases. These management techniques can be divided into various categories like regulatory methods, quarantines and inspections of the crop fields, cultural methods, host eradication and rotation to non-specific species, sanitation, altering the environment conditions, biological control